Now to that breaking news from overnight. Right now, we know at least 4 people were hurt in a shooting that happened right in the heart of downtown Savannah. The shooting happened on West Congress Street, right next to Ellis Square. You can see police taped off the area just before people began to filter in and out of clubs and bars in the area. Our crews were on the scene as 2 of those who were injured were taken into ambulances. Savannah police tells us another person took themselves to the hospital in a personal vehicle. We are working right now to find out their current condition. Right now, there is no word on what led up to the shooting or who is responsible. An investigation is ongoing. So make sure to stay up to date on the very latest breaking news by heading over to our website, WJCL.com, or on our mobile app. As we receive more information, we will push it out to you both on air and online.
Well, the GBI releasing the names of those victims in an apparent murder-suicide that happened over the weekend just outside Glenville.
Tattnall County deputies were called to a home on Baxter Durrance Road around 11:30 Saturday night. They found 4 people dead inside of that home. The GBI has identified them as 51-year-old Veronica Torres, 24-year-old Leslie Torres, and 18-year-old Eddie Torres. GBI agents also found 42-year-old Octavia Castro dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Agents believe Castro killed the 3 victims and then turned the gun on himself. 3 additional people, including a 6-month-old baby, were also found at the home unharmed. Right now, all of the bodies are being examined at the GBI crime lab in Pooler. Well, as lawmakers return to Capitol Hill today, President Donald Trump is ramping up pressure on the Senate to pass what he's branding as the One Big Beautiful Bill. WJCL 22 News' Jackie DeFusco is joining us from Washington this morning. And Jackie, I understand this is expected to be an uphill battle as some Republicans are now raising concerns.
Well, Emma, Republicans have very little room for error here. In the House, this bill passed by just 1 vote before the holiday break, and now some GOP senators are saying that they will stand in the way unless changes are made.
There's no government on planet Earth that's ever saved over $1.6 trillion in a piece of legislation. This one does. And so when you reduce government spending and you allow people to keep more of their hard-earned money, the economy grows, and that's exactly what's going to happen here.
I think they're asking for too much money, and in the end, the way you add it up to see if it actually is going to save money or add money is how much debt are they going to borrow? $5 trillion over 2 years. It's an enormous amount.
President Trump criticized Senator Paul publicly over the weekend on social media, just an early sign of the pressure campaign that is likely to play out in the coming weeks as congressional Republicans look to get this so-called big beautiful bill to President Trump's desk by July 4th. Reporting in Washington, I'm Jackie DeFusco, WJCL 22 News.
Jonathan, thank you. From Tropical Storm Debbie to Hurricane Helene, 2024 was the deadliest hurricane season in 20 years in the Southeast. And today is the start of the 2025 hurricane season, which runs until November 30th. NOAA's latest Atlantic hurricane season forecast is showing above average activity. You just saw him. We're going to bring him back on. Meteorologist Jonathan Myers joining us again. Jonathan, you've been looking at the data. What can we expect for 2025?
It looks busy. I was talking about with you, AJ, at the top of the show, but one thing does not look like to be as hyperactive as last year. So here are the names for the 2025 list, and you can see, well, maybe your name is on it. Andre is the first name, then Barry after that, and all the way down to Wendy. Let's hope we make it nowhere near to the end of this list. But NOAA is forecasting above average hurricane season. The average named storms 14, 13 to 19 storms. The number of hurricanes 7 is average, 6 to 10. So that would be slightly above average. And major hurricanes, which is category 3 or stronger, average is 3 to 5. So maybe averagers above that. But remember, these numbers here, even if it was a below average season or even well below average, it only takes one. One hits coastal Georgia, low country. Would be a busy year for us. And of course, we'll be tracking them out as we go throughout the season.
Well, newly released research shows some promising findings on colorectal cancer treatment and prevention. The studies were presented at the annual meeting of the American Society of Clinical Oncology. One study looked at 900 colon cancer patients. It found a 28% reduction in risk of reoccurrence or new cancer for patients on a regular exercise program. Researchers say walking briskly for an hour a few times a week, along with eating those leafy green vegetables, makes a big difference. And the exercise program was found to prevent 1 out of every 16 patients from developing recurrent or new cancer. Another new study found that anti-inflammatory diets also helped improve survival rates for people in advanced stages of colon cancer. And also getting attention at the conference was Pfizer's new drug combination, which researchers say is showing promises in advanced cases.
Thank you, Catherine. I have just returned from the trip of a lifetime. My photographer, Dan Scott, and I were invited by the United States Navy to join them for the week in Norfolk, Virginia, to become sailors ourselves while meeting those from Georgia and South Carolina along the way. We want to show you a recap, some of the highlights of our trip. The first day, we just flew out there. We got to see downtown area. That's the USS Wisconsin right there. And then Dan and I geared up for a very big day. The next day, when the actual training began, day 2, action-packed. My goodness, this day was crazy. It started with uniform issue at the exchange, where I got all ready. Dan helped me put my boots on the proper way, tied my hair in the bun. The next time, we went to a simulation that day that taught me how to steer the ship. Very cool there. And then after that, we got to do aviation water survival training. This was absolutely incredible. They put me in the water like I was a pilot who had just ejected from a plane, and then I had to learn how to egress or escape, swim out of that thing there. They flipped me upside down. Quite the experience there, preparing for a crash landing in the water. So day 2 was incredible. Ended it with a helicopter ride. Now on to day 3 here. As you can see, we went down in the USS Pasadena. That's a submarine. We were underwater. We had lunch down there, which was incredible opportunity. We got to meet one of our sailors from our area that works on the torpedoes down there. He's from Brunswick, actually. Went down in there for about 5 hours and just got to see how small their living spaces are down there. The final 2 days were the grand finale. That was the aircraft carrier. We got to go out to the USS George H.W. Bush, seeing all aspects of it. But really, their main mission is to train pilots that you see there on F-18s. See, they had to practice those touch and goes there, trying to catch the wire. We also got to talk to several other sailors that do all sorts of different things out there to keep the boat afloat and keep things going well. It was a truly amazing experience.
Thank you. Some beautiful sunrises there. Well, we have a sneak peek into an all-new Eat It and Like It with Jesse Blanco. And things are getting sweet. We have all the details right here.
Jesse, I'm hearing you have some important information for us today about donuts.
Yes, next Friday is National Donut Day.
Yum.
So everybody will be talking about donuts then. We're talking about them today. These that we're going to talk about are the best in town. You've been to Baker's Pride, right?
Oh, yes, I have.
Yes, Baker's Pride Donuts. Ask anybody who's been here any length of time, and they'll tell you the best donuts in Savannah are on Durant Avenue at Baker's Pride. They've been there, I want to say, a few decades now. Everybody knows, usually on a Saturday morning, there's a line. The prices are good. They do cakes. They make everything there overnight. You walk in there first thing in the morning, and it smells like it should smell. Like, yeah, they're just so incredibly good. Everybody loves them, and you can hear their entire story at 12:30. It's a good one.
He's right about Baker's Pride, that's for sure. Well, Eat It and Like It will air Sunday at 5 right here on WJCL 22 News.
Savannah police is currently investigating a use of force incident that happened at the McDonald's on Skidaway Road. I spoke with Mayor Van Johnson about the concerns that he's heard from residents following the viral social media videos.
Police executed what they call a controlled takedown.
I ain't gotta do the lady like that.
The lady he's talking about, Vereen Ross, the mother of Quamaine Williams, who police were arresting for threatening a man with 2 metal pipes, leading to a simple assault charge, and his mother with obstruction. The report saying they were both resisting arrest. Mayor Van Johnson says it wasn't the only video he was sent with concerns, but also a video of Savannah police officers sleeping in their patrol car. Mayor Johnson has requested a written status report from Police Chief Lenny Gunther on both incidents.
I recognize that video clips don't tell the whole story. Our use of body-worn cameras and GPS and written reports will allow us to add essential context.
Are you pleased with the communication that you've gotten from the Savannah Police Department on these requests that you've given them?
I've not gotten the responses as quickly as I would like. Period.
Adding that once we know what occurred and see that body cam video, the incident can either be amplified or tamped down. Savannah police did respond in a statement Tuesday saying it's all still under review, and once facts are determined, appropriate action will be taken.
Days later, we now have a response from Police Chief Lenny Gunther. He sent an open letter to the people of Savannah, Chief Gunther, about that social media video. Chief Gunther said, quote, "I understand the desire for swift action and answers. The Savannah Police Department is and will remain committed to holding ourselves accountable for all of our actions. If it is found that an officer has violated our policy or the law, we will address it in an appropriate and transparent manner. We will also stand behind and support our officers." We also finally got answers about 3 officers that were placed on administrative leave earlier this year. In April, we first told you about Sergeant Samuel Hunt, Brent Minton, and Corporal Alan Contreras. They were placed on administrative leave in April. We've been asking about these officers for months. Savannah police have finally told us why those officers are being disciplined. In a statement, the city said all 3 of those officers acted outside of the department's use of force policy. The statement reads, during a sealed appeal process, SPD leadership saw fit to issue a 5-day suspension to Sergeant Samuel Hunt and Sergeant Minton and Corporal Contreras. Sergeant Hunt and Sergeant Minton have been resigned the patrol division under field operations. Corporal Contreras resigned before the investigation was complete. Big changes are underway at City Hall in Savannah, and we're getting our first look. Renovations at the city's Archive Museum and Council Chambers are just about finished. City leaders say the upgrades will modernize the space while still honoring its historical past.
It was just a matter of, bringing the beauty back to the surface and making sure that the necessities of modern life weren't getting in the way of all that historic beauty.
The first phases of renovations are expected to be done in July. City Council is expected to resume its meetings there in August. A preliminary report is shedding light on what may have caused an engine of an American Airlines jet to become engulfed in flames. It forced passengers to evacuate the plane in Denver last month. According to the NTSB, engine parts incorrectly installed may have contributed to the fire.
This may have happened just days prior, or it may have been a problem for months, if not years. We'll wait and see what the NTSB says, but really human error is going to be the factor here.
American Airlines is cooperating with the investigation, saying safety is a top priority.
We got to get to some breaking news right here at the start of things. Savannah police, they are investigating the death of a 17-year-old boy. Now, it happened on Tibet Avenue between Middle Ground Road and Abercord Streets. Now, police say the victim died as a result of a domestic homicide. Now, police did detain 1 juvenile suspect at the scene. Of course, we will keep you updated on air and online at WJCL.com as we learn more details throughout the morning.
And if you didn't make it out for that event, we have other events happening today for the whole family to get out and enjoy. First up, we have the Georgia Dad Tribe in Savannah. This free event for Dad will have food trucks, live music, and giveaways. It's all happening at the Bellhaven event venue in Richmond Hill from 1 p.m. till 5. The 7th annual Jazz Benefit Concert, that's also happening today at 4 p.m. at the Congregational Mikveh Israel. The renowned Teddy Adams and Sextet, featuring jazz soloist Miss Huxley Scott, will perform. Adult tickets are $50, while children and college, they get in for $20. All proceeds will support Camp Lighthouse, a camp that provides positive summer camp learning experiences for Savannah's youth in underserved communities.